Hey, you guys, welcome back to Being Becoming the podcast. I'm your girl, MB, and then I have my girl finally back with us, Janelle. Whoop, whoop.
Hey y'all, how y'all doing?
Okay, so if you guys listened last week, I told you guys that Janelle was on, a nice needed break. She went on vacation, so we're so excited to have her back with us. Before we get into everything, Janelle, how was your vacation?
Girl, it was amazing. A bunch of relaxation. I got to see a lot of friends. Even you, MB, I got to see
Yeah,
you.
you
So
came to Atlanta.
I know. Look, I enjoyed it. Making memories all over again.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just the gratitude of seeing your friends again and really connecting and just staying in touch because all of us are, states and miles apart from each other. So it
Mm-hmm.
was just really good to connect again.
Girl, it was good to see you. Like you said when you were here, like it's been 2 years, I think, since we've seen each other in person, which time flies because I did not think it would have been that long, but it was just nice to have you here. We ended up going to the Trap Museum, you guys, which I've never been. It was cool. We did an escape room at the Trap Museum, which was real interesting. But I think we made it through within the time frame. But yeah, it was just fun having her here. So yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yes, but that Atlanta traffic, girl. Whew,
Yeah. I don't go in the city unless I have to. So I agree with you.
Yes, that city traffic is no
Mm.
good.
But let's go ahead and jump on in. For our new listeners, welcome. Welcome to the podcast. So as I said earlier, we are becoming the podcast. We are a weekly podcast. We drop episodes every Thursday, and we talk a little bit about anything and everything as we help and assist our audience on their journey to become. So we leave that open ended for you guys. Become whatever you want to be, but we hope you are working toward the process of becoming the best version of yourself. So welcome you guys, and shout out to all of our returning listeners. I know there's some people out there. We just want to say shout out to you guys, anyone that is, listening to us. We're on all streaming platforms. And then also, if you want to watch us, like I've said in so many other episodes, you are missing out a part of the podcast if you don't watch us. Like Janelle's facial expressions, my facial expressions, like all this movement that's happening over here, you definitely want to see. So you can go on over to YouTube and go to the I'm Just MB channel, and we have all of our podcast episodes up there to watch and listen as well. So, what are we talking about this week, girl?
So we are about to take a dive into a subject that is relevant to people we know and even ourselves in certain situations. I want you all to think about this question. Have you unknowingly messed yourself up? I mean, I know I can attest that I've hurt myself a few times by procrastinating, not putting in the effort to prepare for an exam, or just taking shortcuts that I shouldn't be taking.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of taking the stairs, I jumped on the elevator. You get what I'm saying? So it's just different shortcuts that we take where you be like, I probably should never did that. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But other people may self-medicate with alcohol or drugs. Some may binge eat or buy things they can't afford. So in the moment, it may not seem like it's much, but over time, you'll notice the damage you've done. And there's a word for this behavior. It's called self-sabotage. So self-sabotage is when we prevent ourselves from reaching our goals or the best version of ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So that is our topic for today. We're going to be talking about self-sabotage, and we're going to just be, again, diving in deep. Let's go, MB. What you got to say?
Girl, when I thought about this topic, I felt like it had been on my heart for a little bit to talk about it because we talked about a little bit of everything. We talked about, self-doubt. We talked about
Mhm.
toxic friendships and toxic relationships. So I felt like naturally the next topic would need to center around like self-sabotage because we're all out here, like we've talked about our personal goals that we want to achieve. We're literally in like April now, so we're almost halfway through the year. We got about 2 or so more months before we get halfway through the year. And those are when those behaviors, if they haven't already kicked in, start kicking in. Like there's certain things that you want to achieve, but you're like, okay, maybe I can like push it off to, next the next day. So like procrastination, or maybe, if I do this now, I can do it later. So just those thoughts start to creep in, and then you start to act on that. And that's when self-sabotage starts to happen. I feel, me personally, in the past, I've had a lot of self-sabotaging behaviors that I would like to kick. Specifically, procrastination is a huge one for me. I was always that person in college who felt like I worked best under pressure. So I would literally wait to the last minute to type a paper. Like, you have the syllabus, when your assignments are due. I wait like 2 days before to even start the paper, and then just type throughout the night. And I always thought that was my best work. But as I'm getting older, work situations, things of that nature, I'm finding that when I really make time to do things and I plan ahead, like, that's actually my best work. I just need to start doing that instead of procrastinating and waiting to the last minute, if that makes sense.
Girl, I feel you on that, but I feel like I still work very well under pressure. Girl, I was working on a paper last night and it was due today.
Mhm.
And that's exactly what I did. I waited till the last minute to get it done. And like you said, I feel like my best work is done under pressure, but that was my first time waiting to even start on an assignment.
Mhm.
Usually I even already have it like mapped out, wrote out on a piece of paper and just need to type it up. Girl, when nothing done this time. So I totally
That's me all the
understand.
time.
Yeah, and so just getting out of that habit again, just making sure that you prepare for everything because you just don't know what life might throw at you and you might be like, "Ooh, dang, if I would have just went ahead
Yeah,
and did it, a day or two ahead of time, I wouldn't
right.
even have to worry about it or stress over it."
Right. And to go off your point of the stress, it's not that waiting to the last minute to do it. Yeah, your best work, you feel like your best work can come out of it because, yes, you're able to do it. Whether you have 2 days, an hour before, whatever, you're gonna be able to do it. Like, you're qualified to do it. But it's like, if you would have gave yourself more time, that's less things you would have had to worry about. Because I know when I come down to that last minute, I'm stressing. I'm trying to figure out, like, okay, I'm taking away time I could have been doing other things. Like, if I didn't wait 2 days
Mhm.
before, I could have slowly typed, a page one day, a page another day. That would have gave me more time, throughout the week to do other things. If I'm waiting the day or 2 days before, that's 2 days that I have to block off where I can't do anything at all except work on this paper. So yeah,
Exactly.
I definitely think stress is a huge thing when it comes to procrastination. But yeah, I completely agree with you on sometimes I feel like my best work comes from procrastinating, but I'm trying to stop that behavior. So
Look, and the crazy thing is I stopped myself. I did something for the first time this week. MB, did you notice?
what did you do?
I typed in our notes.
Oh yes. No, okay, so that's funny. I was actually talking to Mike, and he was like, "Hey, when are you guys going to be done with this?" I said, "Well, we might need to jump on, and Janelle might need to type up her notes." And then I got on here, I was like, "Janelle already typed up her notes. Like, we could just start the episode."
Yes. And so that's my whole thing. I was like, I did the notes yesterday, early in the morning. It was like 9 o'clock in the morning. But you guys, I did something for the first time ahead of time. Without having
I'm
to
proud
work
of
under
you.
pressure. I know, I know. Look, MB knows I am juggling a whole lot on my plate
Mhm.
at once. And I really appreciate her MB just being so patient with me, y'all. Like literally, I'd be like mid sentence, I'm like, oh, I'm thinking, whoop, whoop, whoop. Next thing you know, I have to answer this call for my dad, or oh, I have to talk to this student over here. Oh, we have a meeting. Oh, we have parent teacher conference. It's just like everything just be boom, 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 boom.
Mhm.
So I appreciate it, girl. I do.
No, I appreciate you being here. So I'm just happy we're able to do something together. But one thing you mentioned in your intro that I thought was interesting, and I actually didn't initially think about it when we said this was going to be the topic, but
Mm-hmm.
self-sabotaging in the sense of, self-medicating.
Mm-hmm.
So with drugs and alcohol. And I don't know why I don't think initially of that being part of self-sabotaging, but it's a huge thing that a lot of people rely on. A lot of people rely on those vices to get through certain situations, or just, going back to those vices when they know it's not good for them, especially when it comes to, like, addicts and things of that nature. Um,
Mm-hmm.
having to start to rely on something when you what I'm trying to say is, like, if you can't handle it and you can't handle it, like, still going back to it. So that's
Mhm.
self-sabotaging in a sense. Like that even goes to our quote today. Our quote is insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, but expecting different results. So when you're self-medicating, like you're continuing to do something to get you through or to get you over something, and it's like it's not, eventually you're not gonna be able to rely on that.
Mhm. And just a second that, it's just the simple fact that when you self-medicate, let's just be honest, that leads to self-destruction
Mhm.
overall. And my thing is you have to face that issue that you're dealing with head on.
Right.
There's no amount of alcohol that can change, the circumstances right then and there. There's no weed, no crack, no cocaine, whatever you doing, it ain't nothing gonna fix that problem right then and there, or even forget about it. It's
Mhm.
gonna still be there when it's all said and done. It's still gonna be there, and it's gonna be waiting on you. Like, I'm still here.
Right.
And you really have to just address the issue and just deal with it head on. And I feel like in college, a lot of people self-medicated.
Mhm.
And a lot of it was because they didn't know how to deal with it. They've never been in those situations. They've never been told how to deal with it. It was just a lot, I feel like, of the lack of maturity and the lack of skill set to
Mhm.
even handle the issues that were um faced with in college, to be honest.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Yeah, I definitely can look back on situations where I felt like a lot of people, and I mean, maybe even myself at times, like, especially when we were younger, like drinking and things of that nature, like, feeling like you need a little bit of courage. So taking that liquid courage just to get you through, maybe it'd be a social situation or things of that nature. So yeah, I definitely relate. But again, like you said, like you're always gonna have to deal with it. Any type of like self medication you're taking, it's always like, yeah, you're going to get to that high, but you're going to have to eventually come down. And then what happens once you come down from that? So yeah, I definitely think it does relate to self sabotaging, because like you said, you're delaying the inevitable. Like you have to deal with it. So you're just
Mhm.
delaying whatever is going to happen.
And then it just create more issues. It
Girl,
creates
yeah.
more issues. And people be like, "Oh, no, it don't." Girl, wait till you look in that bank account. And you be like,
Right,
"Dang, where my money go?
right.
I'm broke."
Because
You'll
this
be like,
stuff
"You
ain't
know what?
free. This stuff
You
is not
heard
free.
me. It's not free. It ain't cheap either."
Hmm.
So I'm telling you, everything will come back, and you really have to look at it. Is it worth it?
Right.
Really ask yourself, is it worth it?
Hmm.
And I guarantee you it's not.
Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. Um, but going off of things costing money, girl, shopping addiction, buying things you can't afford, like just continuing to swipe that credit card. Like, I feel like that's another thing, that's something that people kind of use to deal with those behaviors, and it kind of sabotages them. It sabotages them because, like you said, they don't have no money in their bank account no more because they spend all this money on things. So they can't do things, or they don't have the funds to do things maybe they want to do or need to do. So,
Mhm.
like, let's say in a situation where someone's like, you know what, my goal is to buy a house at the end of the year. If you're continuing to spend money on things that you want in the moment, or things that you don't need, like you're not going to have that money, that either for the down payment, or you're not going to have enough funds in your account or things of that nature to buy that house. So you're sabotaging your goal at the end of the day for a quick fix or for that
Mhm.
instant gratification. So like I feel like that's another thing along with that self-medication. Like you can't, like, if you have, even if outside of buying things, if you have a goal and you're doing something opposite that's going to affect that goal, like you have to align those things.
Mhm. And let me just say this, it doesn't even make sense to try to keep up with the Jims and the Jones, and you're not
Mhm.
even on that level yet. It doesn't make any sense. When
Right.
people go out here buying a Louis Vuitton purse, what you gonna put in that purse?
Girl,
What do you have to put in that purse?
we had
Yes.
this conversation when you were here
Yes.
about people, like all the luxury stores here in Atlanta, like a lot of the other areas, like Kentucky, for example, doesn't have a Louis Vuitton store. So a lot of, times when people come, to visit me in Kentucky, they're like, let's go to Lenox Mall, or let's go to, one of the luxury stores or shops. And I'm like, but why? You're not going to the stores in Louisville. You're not
Mhm.
buying it online in Louisville. So why come here and do it?
Exactly. And I feel like a lot of us, um, just people in general, feel like they have to have a status or they have to
Mhm.
have this to stay in the up and up or whatever the case may
Mhm.
be. But you're literally hurting yourself. You get what I'm saying? Who
Right.
cares? Who really cares about how you look these days? You
Right.
know, when we were in college, we didn't care what we had on. It could be a free shirt that we got on campus with some leggings, and we was pushing. You get what I'm saying? We
Girl,
really wasn't like,
I don't know about all that. I actually care what I had on when I was in college,
girl,
but
stop it. Girl, I throw on a hoodie and some leggings and some chucks in a minute and be on out the door.
yeah.
Now on Friday and Saturday when I had somewhere to go, of course I dressed up.
Girl, yeah.
But, I didn't feel like I had to stay in the up and up or I had to be name brand out. I
Oh,
just
yeah,
didn't feel
definitely
that
not.
way.
No.
I just didn't feel that way. I
Mhm.
wear what's comfortable, what I like.
Mhm.
And that's that. You know what I'm
Same.
saying?
And
But
that's now too with me, like, unless you can afford the luxury brands, and I mean afford, like you have plenty of savings, you paying for everything that you need and you want, and now you have this extra money on the side. Okay, go ahead, do you. Like nothing against you. If you want those luxury brands, great. Support some black luxury brands while you edit, but great, you want those brands. But if you can't afford it, meaning you're not able to afford the things that you need, but you're still
mhm.
making purchases, especially with these stimulus checks. Some of these people should be saving these stimulus checks, or investing them, or doing other things with them. Which I'm not going to tell people how to, use their own money. Obviously we're in hard times, and sometimes you do need that instant gratification. But like, you gotta make a choice. Like, if it's
Mhm.
something you have a need, what are the basic needs that are out there?
Water, food,
Water, shelter,
shelter, clothes.
clothes, things of that nature. Like, you need to take care of that before you go and start doing other things.
Amen. I second that because I be seeing too many people. I be like, your baby don't even got no clothes and you up in here. I just be
Girl.
keeping all the comments to myself. Yeah, I be trying to be good, but it be hard sometimes. I be like, ooh, Janelle, shut up.
Yeah. And the reason we talk about this, like we said before, like this all goes back to self-sabotaging behaviors. Like, these are the behaviors that start to happen that sabotage things that you want later on. So that's what we're talking about. We're talking about goals that, people usually like to achieve. So like, I know, Janelle, you said personally, like you had stopped a lot of your spending, and, you were budgeting more, and you were trying to pay down your debt because one of your goals is, to move and to, eventually purchase a home. So like, you're taking those steps in that initiative.
Yes, girl, and it's been a little struggle. I ain't gonna lie. Oh Jesus, because sometimes, like when I went to the mall, I was like, oh, I want this, I want that,
Girl,
but then I
yes.
was like, you don't need it. It's like the
Mhm.
little devil, the angel on my shoulder kept saying, "You don't need it. You don't need it." And I didn't buy anything. I did not. And that was a
Mhm.
shocker. I said, "Shoot, I'm all the way in Atlanta having a good old time, and I ain't buy not one thing in the mall. Look at you, girl."
That's funny. But yeah, also I think we need to talk a little bit about when it comes to self-sabotaging behaviors, like before we get to jumping ship, I want to talk about imposter syndrome just a little bit.
Mm,
Because I feel like sometimes when we choose to self-sabotage, there's an underlying reason behind it. Sometimes we have, these great goals and these ideas, and we see other people doing it, and we're like, well, I can do it. But sometimes we stop ourselves from achieving that, and we start those little behaviors that are not going to achieve it because we don't believe we can do it in the first place. Even though we want it, we don't truly deep, deep down believe in ourselves. So I feel like that's kind of where imposter syndrome comes around. I know a lot of people think about imposter syndrome in the workplace, but it's also just in life and things that you are achieving, whether it be work related, financial related, relationship related, things of that nature, any type of goal you want to achieve. If you don't truly believe, you may want something, but you truly have to believe that you can achieve it at the end of the day for you to be able to achieve it. Like, there can be an
mm.
opportunity there, but if you don't have belief behind it, that's why affirmations I feel like are so important. Like, making sure you believe in it and putting it out there in the universe, like it's so important because if you don't believe it, you're not going to achieve it.
Amen. And I also feel like a lot of people try to fit into a box.
Mm. Mhm.
people need to understand that you're not meant to be put in a box.
Right.
I feel like God created each and every one of us with a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Mhm.
And all of us ain't gonna have the same ingredients. We're not going to be able to do the same things. I'm not going to be able to sing like Chris Brown. I've accepted I can't sing like Chris Brown or some Beyonce. You get what I'm saying? And I feel
Mhm.
like a lot of people try to be like, oh, I want to be like this. Oh, I saw that. That's dope. I would love to do. But do you have what it takes?
Right.
You know, people are blessed with those abilities for a reason. Um, and you also have other gifts. You get what I'm
Mm.
saying? So
Mhm.
I just feel like just focus on what you've been blessed with and what God has personally told you to work on and to build. You get what I'm saying? Don't
Mhm.
ever feel like, oh, I have to be the next what's the dude who made Apple? Steve Jobs.
Oh,
Is that his name?
yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. I have to be the next so and so and so. No, you don't. All you have to be is you. And 9 times out of time, when we try to be somebody that we're not, it leads to failure. It leads to heartbreak, heartache. It leads to rejection. It leads to all kind of things.
Mhm.
And sometimes you just have to sit back and just analyze who you are as a person and just really be like, you know what? I'm good at this. I'm good at that. And just stay with it. Don't care what other people are doing. Focus on you and your path and your
Right.
journey.
Right.
Girl, that's all I gotta say because I can go on and on about that.
But yeah, what you said was so true. Like we all have a little bit of everything, and you may not have something someone else has, but again, we all have a little bit of everything. So you have something that other people
Mhm.
don't have, and find that and focus on that. But also when it comes to, that imposter syndrome, I feel like sometimes we have those weird self-doubts and they're not always like logical in nature. Meaning that, you can not believe you can do something when you can fully do it and you are completely capable. You have the tools, the resources, everything, but you can get down on yourself and to start have those negative, connotations and thoughts that like, hey, I'm not made for this. This isn't my path. Cause I've had them personally, like, even with, us doing this podcast, I've had moments where I'm like, maybe this isn't something we should be doing. Maybe, I should just take a step back. Maybe I don't have to do episodes every week. Maybe no one's going to listen. Things of that nature. Even though I know I'm fully capable to do this
Mhm.
podcast. Like, we've been able to set this up and, keep this boat going. And we've done episodes every Thursday of this, 2021 so far. And that's one thing we've stayed true with. So yeah, I think it's super important, even though sometimes you're not meant to do something, that's like key to highlight. There are times when you are meant to do something and you just get in your own head in your own way.
Mhm. I agree with that. And that's just like working out, y'all. As you guys know, I was doing a 75-day challenge. I did pretty good up to day like 48. And I just kind of like hit a little plat where I was just like, I stopped. But it takes other people, good friends, to put you back on that path though too.
Mhm.
And I can really say that I'm thankful for the friends that I do have because they've reached out and be like, yo, I ain't seen you post any, workout video, or I haven't seen you at the gym. What's up? Or they be like, oh, I sent you a package of meals because I know you're trying to stay focused. So those small things, even when you do have a negative setback, um, you're faced with that positivity at the same time where it's like,
Right.
hey, get back on track, get back in tune, make sure you prioritize again and
Mhm.
look at your goals and really just try to stay focused. So it's good that even though you might get off your path to get placed back in
Mhm.
position. So
Definitely.
yeah, I feel like that's needed as well. Don't ever think that, oh, you can't get back if you mess up.
Mhm.
Don't think that way. Just get back up and try again. Thanks, Aaliyah.
And I mean, just what you said, like giving yourself that grace.
Mhm.
Like there's gonna be times, like even with me, and trying to lose weight and trying to stick with this, diet. Like when you guys came and my family came, you best believe I was out at these restaurants trying to, do touristy things. Like we ended up going to where did we go that I suggested you guys went and you went to?
Oh, the little Mexican restaurant? Or the other one?
Oh,
Old
no,
Lady
Old
Gang?
Lady girl, we went to multiple places, so but Old Lady Gang, we ended up because I wanted to go to the restaurant. I was like, I've heard good things about it. I've heard that, it's Southern cooking. Let me go ahead and have some. And it was really, really good. I had fried chicken, you guys, and I had the not the waffle, but the French toast and fried chicken. The fried chicken was fire. But yeah, just making sure that you're giving yourself grace because I feel like a lot of that kind of ties into our next kind of topic with jumping ship too quickly. Like a lot of us, like we'll fail at something, or we'll mess up and get down and be like, well, okay, I'm done with that. Can't continue with this goal. Like a lot of us, especially, and I'm going back to the diet thing because that's what I'm working on right now. We'll mess up. We'll have a cheat day or a cheat meal, and then we'll turn into a cheat day, which will turn into a cheat week, which will turn into a cheat month. When you could have just messed up that one time and got right back on, the horse, or got right back on that ship. Like you didn't need to continue down the same path, especially if you have a goal in the end. So that's another example of like self-sabotage. You're sabotaging yourself. Like no one's here holding any type of knife to your throat. Like, oh no, you can't do this anymore. Like it's just you. It's you stopping you from achieving what you want to achieve. And I could talk about this because I stop myself from achieving things that I want to achieve. But I'm working on it, you guys.
Insane. Like I told you, I haven't been going to the gym as frequently as I should have been because I did have a little break, and I was just going. At one point, I was only going 3 times a week out of the 7 days. And I was like, ooh, I actually noticed. I was like, girl, usually you ain't tired at this mark just yet. You get what I'm saying? But that's because I got out of my routine. I was doing hour and 30-minute workouts, and here I am only going for 2 or 3 days now out the week instead of every single day. So again, it's just all about getting back in routine and really just staying consistent. And one thing is make sure you just set yourself up for success. So if that takes you to mark a calendar, if that takes you to set up alarm clocks, reminders, whatever you got to do it.
Right.
Like just do it. Nobody else is watching you. Or like MB say, to criticize you, nobody's watching you to criticize you. But everybody needs some reinforcement. Everybody needs it. The pastor needs it.
Right.
If the pastor need it, then of course you gonna need it. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody perfect or anything like that. But again, grace. Show yourself some grace.
And if you need to take people or things out of your life, do that as well. Do what you need to do to get yourself ready for this next season.
Yeah, say it again, MB, because I don't think the people heard you. Say it again.
Right. If you need to take people or things out of your life, go ahead and do that too. Prepare yourself.
That was a word. That was a word. She brought us to church.
But yeah, I think we kind of we skimmed over this a little bit and what you were talking about, like negative self-talk and negative like thinking is kind of another thing that kind of, hinders us and stops us. We've talked about it, and I feel like these topics all kind of circle each other. And I feel like we're doing a lot of, like we kind of say in the beginning, you guys, we're not experts, but we are here to do the work. So that's why we talk about these topics. But we talked a lot about the mindset. We talked about it in a few episodes. I know we had an episode specifically dedicated to shifting your mindset, but it's come up in like 3 or 4 episodes. Like even with interviews, like everyone says, like, yeah, you have to ready your mind. You have to ready your thoughts, your process, your cognition, everything. It starts with what you say, the things that you think and the things that come out of your mouth. So yeah, I think negative self-talk is so important. Like once you start changing that, I mean, your whole mindset can change. The way that you do things can change. Like, for example, if I tell myself every day, like, I think I'm trying to think of a good example. With me trying to lose weight, if I get up every day and I look in the mirror and I'm saying like, I'm just not happy where I'm at. I'm the biggest size I've ever been. If I keep continuing to negatively say that to myself every morning, instead of waking up and maybe saying my positive affirmations, or, I have a mantra in the morning that I say every morning. If I don't focus on those things, I'm not going to lose any weight. I'm not going to get to where I want to be because I'm continuously putting myself down. So making sure that you're shifting your thought process, shifting the words that you say is going to help so much.
And that's totally true, because I even had to catch myself where I was like, you know, let me just say this. In church they say, life and death lays on the power of your tongue.
Mhm.
And that is so true. And you have to really watch what you say and what you speak out in the universe. And God had to like basically kind of remind me, like, is that what you want? Because you just said that, and I was like, ooh, let me wash my mouth, And I had to really correct myself and be like, girl, don't you ever say that again. And then sometimes you can get in a point of comparing yourself too,
Mm.
on this journey, because I've did it where I was like, how they able to just drop 45 and ain't did, I was trying to say
Girl,
shit,
right.
basically. And I'm sitting here like, hell, I've been doing everything. Hell, I be feeling like I'm starving myself. Hell, I'm
Mhm.
eating carrots and broccoli and corn, things without no flavor, for real, for real. And I can't seem to drop 15.
Right.
But with all of that, it's like everybody's journey is different.
Mhm.
You have to really do what works for your body. And everything is not gonna work. Say for instance, if a trainer say, hey, Michelle lost weight by doing 2 miles every day running. You can run the same 2 miles. It doesn't mean that you're going to drop that weight like Michelle.
Right.
And so you really have to just be patient with your own body and just stop comparing yourself to that other person.
Mhm.
Um, and the crazy thing is, we had this previous discussion. I had lost about 30 pounds, and I didn't even know how, y'all. I didn't even know I had lost 30 pounds. I wasn't paying attention to it. And I feel like when we focus on it so much,
Mm.
that's when things don't work out.
Mhm.
I, I don't know why that is, or I don't know. And so I've been trying to be a little bit more gracious to myself, still pay attention to everything, but making sure that I'm also doing my part too.
Mhm.
So again, let go of the negative thoughts, the comparison, the oh, it's not happening yet, or the scale didn't move yet. Stop all of that.
Mhm. Yeah, I think I definitely agree with you, but I think one thing that you really hit on that a lot of people don't talk about is when you focus on something so much, a lot of the times you aren't successful in the things that you focus like you and I don't want to say focus. I want to say like things that you there's like a specific word when you're like over like continue to think about it, continue to think about it. Like what's the word when you're like it starts with the I feel like you're
Um,
not infatuated, but you're you know what I'm
the
talking
crazy
about
thing
though, right?
is, yeah, another word that you're talking about.
I
Oh my
cannot think of
goodness.
the word right now, you guys. But if you keep like, I'll just use ruminating. If you keep ruminating over something over and over, and like you're not addicted, but you're addicted to getting this done and achieving this, like it's not going to happen for you. Usually 9 times out of 10. And one of the reasons, like you have to set yourself up for success, obviously. Like you need to put those things into place. Like I'll just use weight loss again because that's a huge thing outside of this podcast I'm trying to achieve in 2021. Like I need to set myself up. Like this week, I talked to Janelle before we jumped on. I was eating some broccoli and grilled chicken. I set myself up this week for success because I've meal prepped. I know what I'm eating for the rest of the week. I don't have to go downstairs and be like, oh, let me rummage for something. Let me figure out. Let me grab his bag of chips. Like, no, I have the food that I need to eat for my week. I set myself up for success in the sense that I have a plan for what I'm doing for workouts this week. I know Monday through Friday what I'm doing every day. I don't have to sit there and be like, well, I don't even know what I'm going to do today, so I'm just not going to work out today. Like, no, I have a plan. I know what time. I know what I'm doing. I don't have to scrummage through my phone for a workout video. Like, I'm set with that. So those are two things that are setting me up for success. No, that is not me focusing or, again, I can't think of the word escapes me, but that's not me, being obsessed with, the goal of wanting to lose weight, but I'm setting myself up for success. So it's two different things. So I don't want people to think that, oh, you shouldn't, think about it. Or you obviously need to think about it to achieve your goal, but you can put things in place that you don't have to think about all the time. Like
Hmm.
you don't have to obsess. That's the word I was looking for. It just rolled right off my tongue. Obsess. You don't want to obsess over things because when you obsess over things, it goes back. That's when you start to do that self sabotaging because you just continue to think about it and continue to think about it. Or if you're not self sabotaging, that's when you go into like negative behaviors. For example, when you start to get body what is the body I want to say disform. What is the word? Uh, body dysmorphia. Body dysmorphia. And maybe being bulimic or things of that nature. That's when you get into those, negative, hurtful things, because you're so obsessive about the end goal instead of, the process and, reaching it. Because it's a slow process for a lot of us. It doesn't happen like that. And if it happens like that, sometimes it will go back to you'll lose the weight and then you'll go back and gain it right back. So yeah, just making sure you're continuing with the process and you're not obsessing over the process.
Amen. Girl, I feel like this was coming for y'all today. I feel like we was coming for y'all hearts and minds and everything today.
Yeah, I tripped up a few times, you guys, but could not get obsessed and body dysmorphia out of my mouth, but I got it.
Girl, I ain't even gonna lie. I was like, I don't know what she's trying to say. I couldn't even help you.
Well, I was about to start giving clues. I was about to be like, it's in the DSM-5. I was about to start throwing out random stuff for my psychology degree. Like, I don't know what I was about to start saying. So,
girl, I'm over here. I'm on Google. Like, what the hell is she trying to say? I don't know.
But yeah, I thought this topic was just so important because I feel like we kind of, like I said before, I feel like we circled the topic in some of our other topics, like where we talked about mindset, we talked about negative, thoughts and processes and all of that, and, self-doubt and things of that nature. But I think self-sabotage just equally belongs with all of those things because you can have those thoughts, but when you start to act on those thoughts, that's when it's like, okay, you're really hindering yourself from doing things that you want to do because everyone's going to have a little self-doubt. If you don't, you are the most 100% confident person in the world. I salute you. Because I feel like a lot of us have self-doubts. We don't always act on them, but a lot of us do. But when you start to act on them, you can really sabotage and hurt yourself from achieving something great or doing something great.
Amen. Amen.
Mm-hmm. But girl, okay, that brings us to actually, before we get to that, I always be forgetting, you guys. I have certain things lined up. I be forgetting stuff. Quote for the episode. So I already told you what one of our quotes was for this episode, but I actually had two. So this first quote was what I said before, which was the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, but expecting different results. But the second quote I have, which I think kind of sums up everything we talked about, is we sabotage the great things in our lives because deep down we don't feel worthy of having the great things. So I just wanted to put that out there as some food for thought. Like, think, you guys, are there some things that you feel like you are sabotaging in your life? Are there some things you want to achieve? Maybe it's a lifelong goal. Maybe you've had this goal or, this affirmation or thing that you want to achieve for like 5 years now. Like, what is keeping you from achieving it? Is it something you really can do? And kind of just process that.
Amen. And that just look, I can't speak now. Resonate in a lot of people's lives too, because a lot of people do self-sabotage because they never experience something so good. Especially even in relationships, people really hurt a lot of their relationships because they be like, oh, no one's ever did that for me. No one's ever been that nice to me. No one has looked out for me or cared about me, and you'll be like, dang, y'all been around some messed up people. But in the end, you really have to learn how to cherish what you have in that moment. Because I feel like God places everything that you need in your life. And you don't ever want to throw that gift away or push it away when it was intended to better serve you or aid you for your success. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's deep. That's deep.
Girl, you know what you just made me think of?
What?
Our next episode topic for next week. Because when you were talking about like a lot of times people can't accept like good things in their lives because they've been through some like messed up stuff. I think it's important to shed a light on trauma and traumatic experiences that a lot of people like go through. Which that's very broad. I'm being very broad because trauma can be a whole realm of things. It can be sexual trauma, relationship trauma, mother-daughter trauma, things of that nature. but yeah, I think it's time for us to go there and start talking about that, because like I said, we're all growing. Me and Janelle are growing through these topics. This is therapy for us in a sense. Um, so yeah, I think talking about trauma and talking about either, maybe some of our past traumatic experiences or just things, we see a lot of people go through, I feel like that can really help heal people. So
Amen.
thanks for next week's topic.
You're welcome. I mean, my thing is this, you guys have to be ready for the healing process. You get what I'm
Mhm.
saying? I feel like that's what really hurt a lot of people is that they don't actually go through the healing process.
Right.
And when they don't, you don't know how to take on all these new things. And when somebody is nice to you for the first time after you've been cursed at, hit, abused, and mistreated, you don't know how to handle that. So
Mhm.
you definitely have to handle that pain first before you're even able to really appreciate being on the receiving end of something so good and positive.
Right.
So, girl, that's a good topic. Go ahead, girl. We did
Well,
that.
I know,
We
right?
did that.
Okay, but girl, let's wrap it on up. One thing we haven't done in a minute, it's been few episodes that we haven't done this. We are now at our segment called If You Don't Know, Now You Know. So one takeaway from the episode, girl. What is one of your takeaways? Actually, I'll go first. I had a little time to think about this. So I think my biggest takeaway is just, I think how you kind of ended it, like making sure you're ready for the process. Like we talk a lot about, things that we're starting to do in our lives and starting to reflect on things, whether it be self-sabotage, self-doubt, things of that nature. But you really have to deal with your past trauma as well. So making sure that you're speaking about it, that you're clearing those negative thoughts out of your mind, that you're just ready for the process. So I think overall that kind of wraps up my thoughts on this
Mhm.
week's episode.
Same. I don't think I have too much to add to that. We was dropping gems.
Mm-hmm. Sure
Um,
was.
and I feel like that's what happens when um it has happened to us. You get what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Once you didn't live through it, you're able to speak about it and you be like, dang, did I just say that? And you be like, well, shoot, that was word because shoot,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't had to go through it. You get what I'm saying?
Yep.
So, yeah, this was a great topic, but I do not have anything else to add.
Sounds good. So, you guys, thank you so much. If you have made it to this portion of the episode, we just want to let you guys know how you can continue to engage with us. So, there's two ways you can engage with us. The first way is we do have our Instagram page. It is at Being Becoming Podcast. So, at Being Becoming Podcast is the IG page. Feel free to go over there. Every week we usually post the week's topic, and we ask questions in our stories and things of that nature. You can also send us a DM through our Instagram. So if you want to talk about your own personal experience with this week's episode or just any type of topic, if you guys have show topic suggestions or ideas, feel free to shoot us a DM. We would love to continue to engage with you guys. Also, the second way you guys can engage with us is on Clubhouse. Yes, we are on Clubhouse. We are actually there every Thursday at 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. It's 9 p.m. Eastern. I got confused there for a second. 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern. And we have a room, and we just talk about that week's topic. So feel free to join us there. We also have a club on Clubhouse. It is Being Becoming. Just that's it, Being Becoming the club. So feel free to, shoot us a DM or find us on Clubhouse. We would love to further engage with you guys. And if you want to follow me personally, you can follow me on IG at I'm Just MB.
And you can follow me at Beautiful J.
And we will see you guys next week.